It's the SKOR North Twins Show. Baseball.
SKOR North Twins Show. One last projection, one last starting lineup, one last 26-man roster projection as we inch closer to opening day. I made sure this was centered, I think, this time. There we go.
Oh, the graphics department. Hard at work here on the SKOR North Twins Show.
I liked it last time, too, Dex.
What font is that? That's a nice blocky...
Alpha Slab 1. That is the name of the font.
Baseball.
Is that a frat or a font? Sounds like
Alpha
a frat.
Slab 1. It also sounds. Sounds like a reliever.
It's Judd's journalism frat from his half semester at the University of Minnesota.
Can I pledge that frat?
That'd be Alpha Slab 1, actually.
Yeah. Alpha Slab 1.
Very offended.
With a couple of beers there from our sports dad. Hey, hit the like button and subscribe button here on the SKOR North Twins Show YouTube channel. We've had a nice month as we're inching closer to opening day. I'll be at Busch Stadium in St. Louis to cover opening day. Super excited for that. Plus, the Minnesota Twins will be opening against the Astros a week after that. 13 of the first 16 games are on the road for the Twins, which honestly, in Minnesota and these environments, all for that. That is all totally fine with me. So that's all good too.
I wish you could praise Major League Baseball for that. That hey, finally they've come to their senses. Like the college baseball season, which starts in like late January, early February, whatever. The Midwest teams go spend a month in California and Florida here, but I think it's just random. I don't think Major League Baseball has come to their senses. I think they just randomized the Twins on the road for a couple weeks.
I'm pretty sure
Astros, White Sox, Cardinals first.
I'm pretty sure last year the busiest month at Target Field in terms of home games was April, which is atrocious.
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense. It's absurd. So I've given you guys the starting lineups before. I will give you that here momentarily against old friend Sonny Gray, who was confirmed to start opening day for St. Louis. I'll give you that later on. But I haven't really given a 26-man roster projection here. So we're going to go through kind of position by position. To be honest, there's really only what I would deem one kind of controversial or more of we have to still kind of wait and see how it shakes out. I actually think the majority bones of this roster has mostly been in place for the last couple weeks. The Royce Lewis injury did open things up on the infield, but there's one player that I think is going to be making his final case to make the opening day roster. So we'll get to that. Okay. I'll fly through this. I'll start from the infield, work our way out through, pun intended, into the outfield, and then I'll give you the pitchers.
Is this like, just for my own handwritten notes here to make the right space, is this like in diamond depth chart form, or are we going like starting lineup and then like bench hitters, or?
We're going catchers, infielders, outfielders,
depth chart.
Utility. Depth chart. Yeah. Okay. And I'll go from the back into the front, if that makes any sense. Two catchers on the roster. No surprises here. Ryan Jeffers and Christian Vazquez. Vazquez's name I know came up in trade talks this year. He's making a bloated salaries. In the last year, that 3-year deal. He apparently went to Driveline. He lost some weight again. We'll see if he can be a little bit more serviceable at the plate. He was one of the worst offensive players in baseball last year, but still a very important guy. He's won a couple World Series. But your two catchers, Ryan Jeffers, Christian Vazquez, those will be your opening day catchers.
Yeah. The one thing about baseball that's weird is I think it's the only sport aside from like football linemen, right, where you lose weight and then it's hard to keep it off in season. Like ordinarily, basketball, hockey, because you're playing games and you're constantly so the weight loss there just continues or is natural. Baseball's the one, and I mean we've seen this with Sano, right? Where it's like, oh man, he comes into camp, he's in great shape. By July, it's nothing but post-game spreads.
Yeah, our guys, Boone and Cyril's talk about it's by the end of a football season, especially if you have like an injury or something that maybe it's not preventing you from playing, but it's preventing you from doing the weightlifting and stuff. You could easily lose 10, 20, 30 pounds maybe as an offensive lineman. Yeah, baseball, I feel like you probably get more cardio in a singular football game than you do in a week of baseball games if you're like a first baseman.
Yeah.
Or a DH.
Now,
unless you're getting your own cardio in. Yeah, catching, but catching's hard, but it's more hard on like you're not I don't think you're burning a ton of calories. So if we're talking about strictly putting on and taking off weight, I guess you're out there in the sweltering heat in July. So
I will say it's the one. If you go back, I forget who I saw a TikTok on this. If you go back, you look at any position that has like significantly changed in 30 years, just of how they look. Catchers now, like Ryan Jeffers is like a work of art. He's a fit dude. Adley Rutschman is a very fit guy. Christian Vazquez, he's lost a little weight and he kind of looks more like a catcher. That backup, big kind of, I'll just use the term, out of shape looking catcher, that is kind of being phased out of baseball. Like it's not as prominent as it used to be.
Bring back the fat guy.
I think once the electronic strike zone comes back, it's going to be way easier just to sit back there and let the ball hit your chest protector.
Bow.
Unless there's a guy on base, then you got to
Actually, you know what though? I did not think about this one iota until the experimentation with the electronic strike zone started in spring training. The next thing, because framing's gone, right? The next thing is going to be the ability to know what's a strike. It's the catchers.
As a hitter, you're saying? Or
No. As a catcher, if you watch these games, the majority of the time, the person that's triggering the appeal, touch the hat or the helmet, is the catcher. So it's the catcher now who's like, oh, that hit the zone. That's a strike. Let's look at it. So that's going to become the new framing is going to be a knowledge of the strike zone.
Yes, I think. But catchers are just by sitting back there and watching pitches are always going to have the best sense of what's a strike.
There's going to be some guys that have a really good sense for it, and some guys that are because you're seeing pitches barely. The ball gets this much in the strike zone, and that's a strike. So I'm just saying, I think there's going to be some guys that can become really adept at that. But yes, for all I care, they can be fat.
Infielders: Ty France, Jose Miranda, Carlos Correa, Brooks Lee, Edward Julian.
Okay, France, Miranda,
Correa.
Yeah.
So 5. We got 5
Brooks
of these
Lee,
guys. Okay.
Edward Julian. 5. Yes, 5 infielders there.
How much when a hitter struggles in spring training, we always just chalk it up to who cares, doesn't matter. Spring training is irrelevant. When a hitter is going gangbusters in spring training, we try to glean something from it. So what would you glean from Ty France in his 35 spring training at bats, having a near 1,300 OPS so far?
Yeah, I mean, I might be wrong after my initial reaction to the Ty France signing, who I believe signed a non-guaranteed deal and was a shell of himself in the second half of last year. I saw the interview he did an interview with Foul Territory, who was at Twins camp earlier this week, and he spoke, and he felt that type of thing, when you get DFA'd and you also rush through injuries at this stage of your career, it kind of humbles you and it kind of makes you put things more in perspective. And that dude is huge. That guy is jacked, man. I don't know if it was this medium workout T-shirt he had on, or if it was his guns that could, pop my head off. Maybe a little bit of both. But I think Ty France is having a great spring, and I also I kind of want to ask him more about it, because he's very against and very just confused as to why analytics hates his defense, and he thinks it's actually more of a vendetta against first baseman than it is a personal thing against Ty France.
Sounds very paranoid.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I guess I think once we get to put eyes on him in the regular season for a couple months, you can kind of tell if a guy. But some of it, I think and I don't know, because I watched him in Seattle off and on, but I didn't watch every Mariners game when we lived out there. But sometimes what happens with analytics is you feel like this happened, for instance, with Jason Kubel, Michael Kadire were very sure-handed outfielders when the ball was hit in their range. But if a ball was hit out of their range, in their minds, it's oh, that ball was out of my, that ball just ran the gap. If it was a little closer, I totally would have made the diving catch. And what happens in infielders too is you get dinged for not covering the same range as somebody else. So it may look like, well, there's nothing he could have done on that play. It was out of his range. Whereas Byron Buxton in the outfield, for instance, is parking under fly balls that other guys are allowing to go to the wall. So I wonder if it's not that Ty France is like making more errors or bobbling the ball more. He might be sure-handed. He just maybe doesn't cover the same ground as some other guys. That's my theory. I have not watched him enough at first base defensively to know for sure.
So the stories that I've seen from spring training about Ty France and his not so good 2024 point to two things. One, he played through a broken foot, right, Dex? He
heel.
Got hit on his heel by a pitch. I think it broke it. He missed like a week and came back and tried to play. The other thing is, I think he is an analytics hater because he claims at the plate that he got in his own head because he got all of this information about how he should be approaching his at-bats, and that like he became somewhat paralyzed thinking through his at-bats, and he claims now, I'm back to just being Ty France, turning it loose. So we'll see. I mean, he might be right, but the one that stops me, Dex, Brooks Lee. So that is Royce is hurt, and what do you foresee for him if he starts the year here?
Yeah, I wonder if Royce was healthy here, it does probably come down to only one of the two in Brooks Lee and Edward Julian. And Julian's hitting the ball a little bit better right now. That is a good sign. He can hit righties very well. Defensively, though, he's a bit of a butcher. Brooks Lee more of a sure-handed defender, but he also is a switch hitter, which the team loves versatility. So the versatility side kind of favors more Brooks Lee than it does Edward Julian. I am curious to see how often he gets in the lineup because, like, on my opening day lineup, I don't have Brooks Lee in it. And if that's the case, if he's really going to be a platoon or part-time player, well, then he is better served starting the season in AAA and playing every day. But I think the opening to injury to Royce Lewis opened a door for Brooks Lee to make the roster.
Yeah. Might as well give it a shot and just see if he can stick. And if not, you can figure it out after 3 or 4 weeks. I'm okay with that. All right.
Outfielders, 4. Byron Buxton, Trevor Larnach, Matt Wallner, Harrison Bader. Those are your 4 out. No real big surprises there. Those have been pretty much locked in for the majority of spring training.
But the good news is, to this point, right, Buck feels pretty healthy going into the season. Mm-hmm. Harrison Bader, who's played a ton of center field in his career, gives you a rangier corner outfield guy defensively. And Matt Wallner, at least as of a day or two ago, I think was tied for the Major League spring training lead in home runs. Again, relatively meaningless, but it's just more evidence that he continues to be a monster at the plate, especially against right-handed pitching. So, yeah, Wallner is such a wild card because either the league kind of catches up to him and he regresses back to just, I don't know if there's a baseline, or he continues to be one of the shocking top 10 OPS guys in the entire league. And spring training's gone really. He literally has a 681 slugging percentage. Small sample size, spring training, all those things, but it's good to see.
I potentially, from a defensive standpoint, love this outfield if it's Bader in left, Buxton in center, and Wallner with that cannon for an arm and right too.
Oh, yeah.
I like this outfield. Like, I think they're going to say, I think that there's a real potential here for a fairly significant amount of runs saved and an improvement defensively. We've talked about this, Phil, for a long time, but putting a center fielder in left, especially at target field, I think is a huge, huge advantage.
Big pasture out there.
There's a lot of pasture, and we've seen a lot of guys that do not navigate the pasture well.
Yeah. No. And run prevention in the margins is a thing we've talked about throughout the offseason. You know, outfield defensive runs saved, just all of the fielding positions together, defensive runs saved. So, I think Harrison Bader is going to play. If he stays healthy, he's going to play a lot of innings out in the corners.
Very confident guy too. He hasn't played the corners since college. I think he went to the University of Florida. I was teammates with Pete Alonso too, I think.
Oh.
So, very confident dude. I'm very excited to watch him play defensively in the outfield. Hopefully offensively.
Bring some swag to this team.
And that's also very important. They need a little bit of a confident guy there. So 2 position players left. Willie Castro obviously being one of them. I know he falls in the utility category. And you can probably, I guess, technically put this 13th guy in the infield category because he can play multiple positions. I'm going to give the final roster spot to Mickey Gasper,
Oh,
who's having a hell of a spring here.
Sneaky catcher.
Sneaky catcher, which, man, it doesn't matter if it's Ron Gardenhire or Rocco Baldelli. This organization loves the possibility of having a third catcher on their roster, baby. He's also a switch hitter. He dominated minor league pitching last year. Is it more likely that this guy is probably a quad A dude? Probably. Than he is like this diamond in the rough that no one has ever discovered, and he's about to be a perennial all-star. But he's been hitting very well. He gives them options as a pinch hitter because he can hit from both sides of the plate. This basically comes down to, do you want Mickey Gasper, who has shown that he can hit a little bit, he's a switch hitter, he can catch in a pinch, but he can also play some first and second? Or do you want Austin Martin for more speed and more outfield? He's looked very good in the outfield so far in the spring in spring training. I think they lean giving this final roster spot to their spring training darling. The Luke Hughes Award this year goes to Mickey Gasper.
yeah. I mean, also, like, you got to have a great baseball name guy on your 26, right? A guy with a mustache.
And he looks like his name.
He does. He's got
Like
he's like straight out of 1986 or something.
He is. If he makes this roster, I think he joins a small list of great stashes on the Twins. His stash reminds me of if you guys recall utility man Jeff Rebele.
Oh yeah.
He's got the Jeff Rebele mustache, who is another guy that was just chewing the tobacco or the gum or the seeds, sitting on the bench saying, "I'm ready to go, coach, whenever you need me. Skip."
He's also like and he's only played a cup of coffee with Boston, was it last year? I mean, he's really and he's almost 30, so he's one of those just 10-year minor league guys that grinds it out and plays oftentimes in the off-season leagues too. But as the Twins look to continue, this is like a 2-year journey for the Twins offensively to cut back from strikeouts. Last year it was, let's say goodbye to Michael Taylor and Joey Gallo and start there. But they're looking to be a little more contact-centric and put the ball in play and make teams make mistakes or just find ways to move the chains and get on base. Well, throughout Mickey Gasper's minor league career, which again is a decade plus, his on-base percentage is almost 400. And he's been a guy in the minors that has oftentimes drawn more walks than strikeouts in a single season. And his name is Mickey Gasper with a beautiful, glorious baseball mustache. So, yes.
It's perfect.
All in on this. This is
Maybe
great.
write that down. Maybe I'm giving Judd an idea. Is there a Mickey Gasper mustache night coming this summer to Target Field? Like the Chris Colabello cowbell, but then was demoted
I love that one.
By the time it happened.
Or if he gets sent down, it's a slam dunk for the Saints.
Yeah.
That's a slam dunk, the stash night. But it's a great stash, great name. And I have no problem with a third catcher if he can play elsewhere. Like the thing that got frustrating was third catcher guy who would just sit there and he might play occasionally because you pinch ran, but he just ate up a roster spot. So I'm fine with this because we're talking about a guy who's got versatility well behind the plate.
That was always one of Ron Gardenhire's deepest, darkest fears that would keep him up late at night is what if, Joe Mauer was prone to injury, but what if both catchers get hurt in the same game? The 0.0001% chance that happens. What am I going to do? So I need to keep a
roster spot.
Butera on the bench.
Yep.
Mickey Gasper, let's go.
Yep, so those are your 13 position players. Give you the 13 pitchers here in just a sec, but hit the like button and the subscribe button here on the SKOR North Twins Show YouTube channel. 5-star rating on Apple, Spotify, however you listen. We do appreciate that. Also, by the way, Kieran's, shout out to Kieran's Irish Pub, just steps away from Target Field. It should be your headquarters for opening day. And in fact, you can come see Mackie Judd and Dex Tweets at Kieran's Irish Pub at the Twins home opener. We'll be there broadcasting. I will likely be hustling up, 5th Street there from Target Field to join you guys around 1 to 2 o'clock. From Kieran's, going to be talking a little ball with you guys. And also, it's just a great pre- and post-game destination for Twins games, too. So shout out to Kieran's for sponsoring the SKOR North Twins Show.
Also, a North American Banking Company, a local Minneapolis/Twin Cities-based banking company helping to power the SKOR North Twins Show. You can find their 6 locations across the Twin Cities: Maple Grove, Roseville, Shoreview, Hastings, Woodbury, and 50th in France. And this is all about personal relationships and cutting-edge online tools and a local banking experience where you can build relationships with the people that help store and manage your money, which can be maybe more important than you think, based on a couple of experiences I have had recently with big, not-to-be-named national banks. So, yeah, I've had some great interactions over the last several months with people that I can put names to faces with at North American Banking Company. They've been invested in the Twin Cities since 1998, and they will help you make the transition easy from your previous banking experience. nabankco.com/Mackey to learn more. That's nabankco.com/Mackey. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
All right, let's look at the pitchers now. 13 pitchers that the Twins will break camp with. Obviously, we know the starters. We've known the starters for the last week or so. That's Pablo Lopez. That is Bailey Ober, Joe Ryan, Chris Paddock, and Simeon Woods Richardson. Those will be your starting pitchers. I know Joe Ryan's velocity has still been down a little bit. He did touch on the fact of it's not really a big concern for him. A classic Joe Ryan was like, I was driving like an hour and a half, and like I don't know, I'm not as strong as I used to be. I wonder actually if Joe does not start game 2. I think it's probably like projected, Joe Ryan will start the second game of the season because he's probably the second best guy in this starting rotation. I wonder if they'll maybe delay that a little bit, like maybe push him to like the 4th or 5th spot as he continues to build up. But those are your 5 starting pitchers, obviously, to start the year.
I will bypass the portion of the podcast where I rant and complain about Chris Paddock being a member of the starting rotation, and I will concede my time to Judd here.
Well, first of all, Paddock will be a member of the rotation for probably about 2 weeks, and then his arm is going to flare up. So, like, I don't think that's going to be a long-term thing. The guy that intrigues me the most, though, is Sim. Because Sim, before he tired out, pitched really well. And I think that there was an expectation, okay, he has to pitch. When he made it into the rotation last season, it felt like, oh boy, this is not good. And he did a really nice job. And he now had a year to build up his strength, tired out at the end, which was not surprising. But I'm wondering now, with the league obviously having seen him, what his potential is. Because I think it's far more than what we suspected a year ago at this time. So I'm actually excited and intrigued to see Sim and to see if he can graduate to the 4th spot in the rotation when Paddock inevitably has something occur that will drive him probably to the injured list.
Yeah, and again, like spring training asterisk, but in a spring where a few Twins pitchers have gotten absolutely lit to the sky, Simeon Woods Richardson has been pretty dialed in for the month since games started. Zebby Matthews was fairly dialed into in spring training. So I feel like, I don't know. I mean, we'll David Festa gave up all sorts of fireworks in spring training. Yeah. But I would think that if someone stumbles, I don't think it's going to be Simeon Woods Richardson. I think it would be Chris Paddock for any number of reasons. It feels to me like Zebby Matthews might be, and he showed you some major flashes last year too. He might be the first one to get the call. So that'll be interesting what that pecking order looks like trickling down to St. Paul.
Mm-hmm. Taking a look at the bullpen arms. So here's what these guys are locked in. There's obviously 8 spots in the bullpen, but these guys are for sure locked in. Obviously, Johan Duran, Griffin Jacks, Cole Sands, Louis Varlin.
Are we being corrected on this now?
So he is going. He explained this. I believe he said that his parents and grandparents would be very proud if he's like put his name on the scoreboard as Lewis. He said, "Call me Louis, though. This isn't a big deal. I'm just trying to make my parents happy." So
I feel like a full persona. Louis. A full name and persona tweak going into the bullpen could be great.
You got to go mustache then.
Mustache, a tweak on your name, goatee. Some Ricky Vaughn sort of thick framed sunglasses, or not sunglasses, but rec specs.
I sort of like this. So a character, basically a character. The new, improved Lewis Varl. I think you're onto something, Phil.
I'm here. I'm here for it.
So yeah, Duran, Jack, Sands, Varlin. Danny Coulomb will be your lefty out of the bullpen, who the Twins used to have, then turned into a pretty good reliever with Baltimore. Now he's kind of your Caleb Fieldbar guy who can get lefties and righties out. There's 3 spots left, and 2 of these are injury concerns, considering are they ready to break camp? Are they good to go? Or are one of them or multiple of them starting on the injured list? Brock Stewart had another hamstring pull a few days ago after already dealing with things. But when healthy, he's going to be a very significant part of this bullpen. So I have him locked in, but also things can change with that hamstring. He hasn't pitched in 5 days since.
He only pitched 3 Grapefruit League innings, too.
Yeah,
I would
hasn't
say
pitched a ton.
There's almost no way.
Okay.
Justin Topa came back from his 9th ailment in the last 12 months. He did pitch a ton in the last outing. I think he's going to be okay now, and he will make the roster, but is definitely down the pecking order of bullpen trust tree. And then Jorge Alcala. I think Jorge Alcala, who at times has shown you really good stuff, but has also at times kind of melted down a little bit. I still think he's done enough to make the Twins bullpen out of spring training. I don't think Castellano, their Rule 5 pick, I bet he gets returned to the Phillies. Maybe there's a trade that works out and they do stash him in the minor leagues or something. But I think those are your 8 guys that will break camp, with Stewart and Topa with maybe a couple asterisks around their availability by opening day next week in St. Louis. But I think those guys are in the bullpen to start the year.
Is there a case to be made that if Zebby goes to the Saints and pitches really well, and Paddock is okay, and he stays healthy, miracle of miracles, that you could move Paddock to the bullpen? A case to be made.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe.
I'm not sure I'm sure he wouldn't like it, but I'm just saying, a case to be made that might be eventually what's in the best interest of this team. And I'm more concerned about the team itself than Chris Paddock's feeling.
Knowing how much teams just value starting pitchers and having guys that can start, they will throw Chris Paddock until that arm falls off.
Okay.
Or if he is just obviously awful. Like they will ride the Chris Paddock train until it derails.
The only other name I would throw in here is they did make a Rule 5 selection this year for the first time in a long time, Iverson Castellano. And the rule is you have to, if you want to keep that player in your organization, you either have to keep him on your 26-man roster, I believe, all season.
Yes.
Or you can facilitate a trade with the team that you drafted him from. And but in the absence of either of those cases, you would then send him back to the team that he came from. Now, in spring training, they've given him a lot of run. I mean, he's out. I think he's pitched more innings than any other non-starter. But I saw a glimpse of him in a game or two. In the 8 innings he's pitched, he's walked 8, which is a huge problem and a red flag for a team that aspires to contend to win a division. And he's given up 6 earned runs in those 8 innings. So I feel like stashing a questionable Rule 5 guy is for teams that maybe don't aspire to win a division, because you'd have to literally hide him for huge chunks of the season unless he hones his command. So
the Phillies would probably take some slappy prospect, though. Right?
Yeah, I mean, if you really like him, would you give up a prospect to keep him in your organization?
It sounds like he's got good stuff, but he either walks or hits guys, which is not going to work.
Yeah.
And just quickly, the Rule 5 draft, can we change the rule now? Like, it's such an archaic old school baseball thing, and you used to sometimes stumble upon great players. But first of all, when's the last time that a team botched that? And second of all, if I'm not going to get a chance, like if the Phillies don't care and are like, you're not worth our roster spot, and the Twins are like, we'll take him, can we not just send him down then? Like, it just feels like a very 80s thing, the Rule 5 draft. And it used to be fun, but come on.
Hey, I mean, Johan Santana was a Rule 5 draft guy, and they did have to hide him because he was on that 0-1 team, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's a lot. Like, what's the last time, like, a Rule 5 guy that transpired. It feels like it's been a long time.
Ryan
If I remember,
Presley?
Johan was bad. They literally had to just like put him into blowout games, and then it clicked in the second.
And he was, if I'm not mistaken, Johan was taken in the Rule 5 draft by like the Marlins and traded to the Twins or the Astros. I think somebody else plucked him, and the Twins traded for him. It was some convoluted thing.
Yeah. Okay, because he was originally an Astro, wasn't he?
Sounds right. But he was a Rule 5 guy. You're not wrong.
Yeah, Houston signed him as a teenager, and then his Rule 5 season with the Twins was actually 2000 as a 21-year-old, and the Twins were not good in 2000, which is my point. The Twins knew they weren't going to be good in 2000, but there's this super talented kid who's not a major leaguer yet, but the only way to keep him in your organization based on Rule 5 rules is to stash him on your roster. So he had almost a 7 ERA in 2000 and was just atrocious. 2001 was kind of a mess while the Twins were good, and then he became one of the best pitchers in baseball starting in 2000. Do the Twins have that type of patience and time and even projection on Castellanos? I don't know. Guess we'll find out.
So those are your 13 position players, 13 pitchers. I'm going to fly through quickly just the opening day lineup against Sonny Gray for the Twins against the Cardinals. So Matt Wallner will be your leadoff hitter in right field. Batting second will be Carlos Correa at short. Byron Buxton batting third in center. Trevor Larnach batting fourth in left field. Jose Miranda will be your opening day third baseman for right now. We'll see if that holds, but I think it's going to be Jose Miranda. He'll bat fifth. Willie Castro will play second, batting sixth. Ryan Jeffers behind the plate, batting seventh. Ty France at first base. And then Edward Julian will be your DH, batting ninth, with obviously guys like Mickey Gasper, Brooks Lee, etc. Harrison Bader on the bench, too, for opening day.
Okay. All right.
Nice work.
I think this whole thing glues together much better if Royce Lewis comes back at some point before the All-Star break, but
that'd be good.
We'll see. And if they get Zebby Matthews in that rotation or somebody with a little bit more potential and upside than my guy Chris Paddock, but other than that,
they acquired him with term though. I mean that was a key trade.
All the term Paddock still has team control left. Yeah.
Well, they bought out the team control and they gave him a contract.
Yeah, no, I know. So I mean, like this guy is going to be. You know what, Phil? You're going to rue this day because someday when Paddock is at the podium at the center of Target Field being inducted into the Twins Hall of Fame, you're really going to take it on the chin for
Listen,
this.
I have been impatient in the past when evaluating Twins baseball, but they've got more patience than most. Six years and counting since the last time he was effective. But all right, I think it's time for a little random twin of the week here. Baseball. Dex is going to lead us through all time. I've got the stats here somewhere. So it's very tight with Judd on a record 6-game winning streak, tying Declan's 6-game winning streak from about a year ago. The 6-game winning streak is Shane Mack, Terry Mulholland, Brian Dozier, Carl Pavano, Greg Swindell, and Kyle Gibson. So the standings all time are I have 26 wins, Judd 25, and Declan with 24. So Judd can tie the number one spot in the random twin of the week standings here, with Dex throwing out the clues today.
All right. Let's see if we can dethrone the reign of terror that is Judd Zulgad right now. Just having a stranglehold on the random twin of the week.
It's a feel-good story. It's the story of the year so far.
A formerly washed up, mentally lapsing.
Just call me Mickey Gasper. And that's not a guess, by the way.
This random twin of the week played in parts of 3 seasons with the Twins. And speaking of opening day rosters, he made the Twins' opening day roster just once.
I gotta go to the document. Excuse me while I.
Well, you already have a guess lined up?
No. I just want to look at I just want to have the document open so I can make sure I'm on top of it. Okay.
I think I know who it is.
Oh,
I'm gonna have Declan throw one more clue out.
Okay.
I don't think we've done this guy.
Love it.
I'm calling my shot. I'm gonna make a guess after this clue.
Way to go, Babe Ruth.
This random twin played in played for 4 Major League Baseball teams.
Ooh, I don't know if this guy got quite to 4, but I'll guess. I'll Matty Tolbert.
Matt Tolbert is incorrect.
Oh.
Incorrect.
Yeah. Or we get up to 3 incorrect guesses each. So that's one.
This random twin of the week was born in 1983.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay, a little bit of a timetable now. Cooking with gas.
Let me confirm something here.
Could be, boy, there's a wide range of when this player could have debuted. All right in the wheelhouse here.
Yeah, this is not
wheelhouse
necessarily
stuff
as
here.
Judd friendly as we like him to be, but that's okay.
This is Mackey friendly here.
A lot of adversity for my Mickey Gasper like run. So
This random twin of the week played in 63 games with the Twins.
Wow.
okay, we still don't know. There's so many questions still lingering over this random twin. Born in
Oh, man.
63 games. I got it. All right. I'm gonna start doing some work
This is
here.
great. So the could have been. No.
Okay,
That's a good
I'm
one.
starting to formulate some guesses.
Okay.
So 63 games. I mean, that's not
All right, Control F search here.
parts of yeah.
Oh, we
yeah.
haven't done that one either.
No, there's a lot. We are in firm slappy territory too. This was a lot of slappies.
I have another guess.
Oh, what was that guy's name? What was that guy's name though?
That-
Okay. Oh, do I want to guess and then?
Yeah.
one
Fire away,
from-
Phil. Fire away. You know what? Go for the glory. Go for the glory.
How close are you on a guess right now?
I'm formulating names. I'm literally writing down names of slappies.
Okay, I'll wait one more clue and then rifle this next one off.
Okay.
Okay. This random twin of the week last played in 2015.
Wow. Okay.
I'd like to know where this random twin came from.
He debuted in 2010.
All right.
And the bookends of those careers, the debut and his last appearance, were not with the Twins.
All right. I am going to take a guess. I'm going to guess the man with the crazy eyes, Cleet Thomas.
Oh,
Pete Thomas is incorrect.
1-1. That was just
so you're saying he debuted in 2010, last played in 2015. Neither of those with the Twins.
Correct. Correct.
Oh.
God, this is right in. I mean,
Oh.
I mean, yeah, this is.
This is
It
right-
is a clue. This isn't Phil's wheelhouse.
Yeah. This is clearly not sports dad friendly.
Trying to end the reign of terror.
Now this won't be forgotten. This won't be forgotten. I'm cataloging this. This will not be forgotten. This is a clear slight to try to end not a reign of terror, a reign of greatness.
So he would have been.
Debuted in 2010.
I have so many guesses.
Nope, that's not.
I don't think that dude played in the majors.
I feel like Phil's going to have to go next on the guess.
There's so many options here to guess, and I only have 2 strikes left.
So he debuts not as a twin. He ends not as a twin. He gets in 63 games.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Did this pitcher pitch in the World Baseball Classic?
I'm gonna. Yes.
Sam Deduno.
The reign of terror is over. Sam
Let's
Deduno
go!
is correct.
Oh, this
Let's
was
go!
this
Wow.
this will not be forgotten. This was earmarked.
Wait, I asked for a clue that wasn't even on the clue sheet right there.
It wasn't.
Oh man, that is wildly impressive. I hope the
that's-
audience takes note.
No, they're upset. Sports Dad was undermined.
Sam Deduno driving a sports car with no idea how to use the stick shift. Just absolute nasty stuff. No idea how to command it.
I was
Great
going to
arm,
say
though. Oh,
a
boy.
famous Twins broadcaster once coined him effectively wild.
Yeah.
Effectively wild is what Bert called him. There's also this quote from Ryan Domit that said, his fastball's unlike anything I've ever seen. It's like catching a 92-mile-an-hour knuckleball.
Yes. Crazy. It
if
looked like
only
he
he
was
knew
throwing a
where it was
wiffle ball.
If only he knew where it was
Was
going.
he, I'm trying to think, was he, which World Baseball? He was on
2013 with the Dominican, I think.
Dominican Republic. Okay.
Yeah, I
That's
just
right.
closed out the wiki page. But yes,
Old
I believe the
Sammy Deduno.
He was on, too. He was on the 2017 team, even though he was out of Major League Baseball. He was on the Dominican team in 2013 and 2017. Played for the Rockies, Padres, Twins, Astros.
There it is. All right.
Love it.
All right, Judd. Go cry in your Padres.
Oh,
Couple
there'd
of
be
beers.
there will be no crying. There will be no crying. There will only be retribution.
Okay.
Oh, I can't wait for some 1990 Twins player I've never heard of. Hit the like button and subscribe button
1990? Be lucky if it's 1990.
right here on the SKOR North Twins Show YouTube channel. We'll have more Twins content as well as we get closer to opening day. Appreciate you guys. We'll be talking at you soon.